when I look back my career, I started as a clerk in a shop, and when I look back my entire career, every time I accepted a challenge, not knowing what the result was, and that was always a significant thing. Like when I was as clerk, they said we are trying to do van sales of polythene, right? Would you like to try? I said okay, and I was the first van sales rep in Sri Lanka to have done polythene sales in this thing, and with absolutely no training. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to go and sell in a shop. Then somebody said, okay, there was a single advertisement, and then can you give some ideas? Read this. I said, this is not good. Can you improve? I said, yes, I can improve. Then I got the chance to do Sinhala copywriting, right? So when my salary was 380, I got 1,000 rupees for doing freelance copywriting, right? Then they said, we have imported various items like kitchen, these hinges and things like that. Can you go out and sell? I said, okay. So they gave me a bike, and I went around selling them. And then I went to Woodplex and tried to sell. And the end of the sales discussion, they said, would you like to join us? I said, okay. I joined them, right? And then the biggest thing I did was, after some time I found that I was not adding value to the company, right? Every day, I was 24 years, I was given a brand new bike with unlimited petrol, and every day I came to Colombo, I was given lunch money, it was great, 24 full tank petrol, what else you want, a brand new bike. But I realized that we were not doing great as a company, and my time was spent mostly to collect checks. So I went told my boss and said, I don't think I add value to the company, I want to leave. Mr. Patrick Amarasinghe said, no, I never said that. I said, you never said that, but I know. And somebody told me there's a vacancy in an advertising agency, would you like to apply? So I gave my CV, and then I went for the interview and I joined them. Then there, Mr. Renton Yalvis was the boss at one time, and then one evening he said, we are discussing a program for slim advertisers and marketers, right? So they had to switch roles and do something called insights. And they met Erwin Virakodi and Lilamani Benson and all these people, and they were discussing Sinhala idiom. I said, Sinhala idiom, there's nothing concrete, it's like a flowing river. They looked at me and said, would you like to make a presentation? And I could barely speak in English at that time, but I said, okay. And it was a public program. And that was the first public presentation I did. And with whom I had to share the presentation, there was not Dr. Gunapal Nanakar, there was a doctor called Dr. Upali Nanakar. He used to lecture at PIM. I don't know whether he's there or he's no more, I don't know. Not currently, long time ago. So then when I went to do my MBA, I met him at Sarnankar Road, long before PIM came to Barala. And that was my first public thing, right? And that gave me confidence to do it. And then there was a public debate on marketers and advertisers and something to do with client servicing. And then I was on this panel discussion, not a panel, it was more like a debate. And there was a gentleman in the audience and said, I said, can I have your CV? It was Mr. Ashok Adilanrol. He was a consultant to CT Seagal. And he said, why? No, we are looking for somebody good. You might be the person that we are looking for, right? So I gave my CV and went for an interview at CT Seagal. And I was interviewed by Mr. Chanda Jayaratna, Mr. Bandaranayaka, and a few others. And that was a significant event in my life, because I don't know how I answered those questions, but when they asked me, what's your career ambition? I said, if you're expecting a textbook answer, I'm not here to give that. You want to be a CEO, I said, my philosophy in life is, my today is a result of my yesterday, and my tomorrow is a result of my today. And whatever I do to the best of my ability, and I know my tomorrow is better. And probably that's the answer that made me get that job. Then I joined as a marketing communications manager, the smallest grade assistant manager. Then there was no division as such, marketing services. So first thing I did was I set a vision for the division. I wrote a purpose statement. Mind you, I hadn't done MBAs at that time, right? I had just I hadn't completed my CIM even at that time. So, but that gave me an idea. Okay, how should I look at this division? And then I probably one of the biggest achievements as a marketing guy is developing the C.T. Siegel brand, right? When eventually, when we were sold from Zurich to NDB, they paid a premium for the brand, right? And the C.T. Siegel Eagle brand building was a significant success story. And then long before CSR was in vogue, right, we conceptualized that, and we did a lot of things on safety, education and things like that. These are, I would still consider them as benchmark CSR activities for any organization to undertake. Then while I was doing marketing services, I was challenged and asked Mr. Jayaratna, because we are interested in developing people and all that, we are looking for, we don't have a HR, human resources development department at that time. Those days most companies had only personnel management, not human resources. This is 1990, 91, probably 92. So then I said, okay, I'll try that. And he said, do you know the price you're going to pay? If you fail in this job, you might lose your job, because it's not like you're marketing, or I'm giving the whole company's HR. So only HR I knew is what I learned in my MBA, right? A little bit. And then I said, okay. And I set up the HR division in C.T. Siegel. And many years they have won some of the best awards in the HR practices, and some of the practices for which they won even international recognition are things that I had introduced. For example, training justification systems and things like that. Then in my career, parallel to the career progression, I did a lot of things in the profession, right? I became president of the Institute of Marketing when I was still an assistant. I was a marketing services manager.
Excuse me, sir, which year was this?
Probably 1999. Yeah, just before the 2000. And so I had conceptualized some of the major projects for SLIM. Like for example, what is SLIM brand excellence?
Yes.
Started as the SLIM brand symposium.
Right.
Now that was the beginning of this brand excellence. Then I came up with a concept called National Sales Congress, which is a big event for SLIM today. And I felt the need to take management and marketing knowledge in Sinhala to people, and then I started writing articles into papers. And I think in year 2000 I published my first Sinhala book, Sinhala in Business, which I think is a trend which I created, because after that a lot of people started writing simple books on topics with small chapters. And the other significant thing probably I have done is I created space for people who come from rural areas, to feel confident that you can go the corporate ladder. And like for example, I'm very comfortable in speaking Sinhala and mixing it in English even in big audiences, right? Because this was a time that people wouldn't dare speak in Sinhala in big meetings, because right, I said I'm from a village and I know Sinhala better than English, and I did that. So those are kind of things that I recruited people not considering their English as a hindrance, and some of them are doing fantastically well, right? They're general managers of companies today, and they've done exceptionally well, right? And we taught them English after they joined Eagle, right? We have interviewed people in Sinhala when they were doing, right? Then I started contributing a lot in the profession, you know, through my slim activities, through newspaper articles. I initiated the first ever radio drama series to introduce marketing in Sinhala, like, you know, for example, I had every time a little marketing concept and a drama, and like, for example, giving name to a product, right? There's a little drama, a family has got a baby and how to give a name, right? And then you elicit principles of that into the discussion, you know, things like that. Again, pioneering things. So I've done a lot of pioneering things, which if I felt like I did. I didn't care what others thought, right? And then some of the things that we did on CSR are also, I would say, very significant. Like, for example, I conceptualized, okay, I'm using I because I want to distinguish, right? Otherwise, I would never say I because there's a team. But I'm the one who conceptualized the National Safety Award, right? And Eagle is the only company, right, who is presenting a national award, not sponsoring, presenting a national award, right? And so you collaborate. You know, I got the concept. I went to EPF board, and I said, ETF board, and I said, you know, we got to give this. Then they asked Mr. Sunil Vijay Singh, said, how can we work with you because you are a private company? I said, because I came with the idea, work with me, right? Don't give this idea to anybody else. So I strategically got them involved, right, so that we hook it up, and National Safety Award became a benchmark for a lot of companies, right? Export companies, they still have the award in the front because that is a guarantee that it's not a sweatshop. You know? Because I could see things at a very national level, not at a company level, right? Then promoting safety at school, at play, and on roads, you know. We created, we took national issues and then worked on it. Like, for example, we picked up accidents by firecrackers during festival seasons. And we worked on it. The year we started, there were 40 serious accidents with four deaths and one child going blind. And we brought it to zero with regard to kids, not adults. Adults, of course, get drunk and get injured. That you can't help. Then we started partnering with the safety wardens and the Life Saving Association in Anuradhapura, right? Now for almost 20 years we have been doing that, right? And so sustainability of things. Then we created a fund for grade 5 scholarships. Now, other than Mahapala Scholarship Fund, I think this is the only other educational fund of that type. We started with 16 million, it is 30 million. Now, what we did was, we brought in a whole value system to these awards. Like, for example, every time we give the awards, we invited somebody very good, have performed very high on education, so that kids get inspired. Like, you know, Professor J.B. Disanayaka, Amaradeva, G.P. Nihal Singh, you know, people like that came and spoke to children, right? 16 years later, the chief guest, right, that is after I left the company, chief guest was the first student who got the scholarship and who has become a doctor. You know, that's the kind of long-term thinking I brought into the brand building. Then when I came to the senior management, I created a concept of every year coming up with a theme and a theme song and the company conference, you know. Some of these things are standard today, but probably we were one of the pioneers to do that kind of thing. And creating value systems for the insurance agents, right? Now, I firmly believe that people have to be developed holistically. So we came up with a concept of getting people to plan their lives with a vision for the family, planning their finances, holistically. So then they did business well. Then I realized these people are giving advice to people for long-term financial planning, and they have to be very well educated. So worked with a University of Wayamba and came up with a financial literacy diploma, right? First of that kind to be done by any insurance company. So if you look at most of my achievements, because I looked at things in a fairly broad manner, then I led 2 major change management projects at Eagle. From BAT time to Zurich was a changeover, significant changeover, shareholder change, right? In that time, people hardly had experience of companies being bought over by like that. And so how we did that was, there was a management workshop, and we created a hypothetical situation where a big foreign insurer enters Sri Lanka. So we did research about that company and created a case study and then group presentations. All of them said, we must have a good foreign partnership to do that. So everybody said that. Then the next day we say, we're very lucky, we have got Zurich coming in, and this is the Zurich story, right? So that's how you manage change. And then we managed that. Then Zurich exited from Sri Lanka, right? We managed the transition from Zurich to NDB bought us. Then NDB sold us to Aviva. So I was, throughout that change management, I was leading. And then through Aviva we introduced the unit-linked products into the market, right? And more than financial achievements, right? When I look back, the biggest achievement is I developed people, right? So if you ask me what is your biggest achievement, developing people. Financial things anybody can achieve, yes. Right? So, and contributing to the company, making a difference to the company I work. And then when I decided to leave in 2000, which I had originally planned, when current CEO, right, we interviewed him, I said, okay, he can run this place, and I agreed with I am the one who said he should be having somebody like that. And when he came and my chairman asked, what's your handover plans? I said, no plans. There's nothing that my top team doesn't know that I know. Okay, you can have one-to-one interviews with them and start managing the company. I'm on leave from next week. And before handing over, I went right around the country, inspired all the people, and said, the biggest gift you are giving me is to the best first half year, right? And they all, and then I set up a once in a lifetime award for that branch. So they all went to win that, because that's the most prestigious thing, because it's once in a lifetime, Deepal's award, right? So I told Shah, you don't have to worry about the first 6 months, it's taken care of, now you plan for the balance. And it was such a smooth leadership transition, and I didn't have a single file to hand over. No files, nothing. And my table was like this, there was no papers on that. And so 2 weeks later, I went abroad on a holiday. Right? I think that's the biggest thing that I can say. Right? You ran a company and you left, nobody felt the loss, right? And that's what leaders do. I don't know, because some things we tried didn't work, some things we tried worked better. And but like, for example, biggest setback is, I don't know, we never looked at things like that. Come to think of it, yeah. If it didn't work, we changed and did again, right? There was no this thing.
Every challenge was converted to opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, like, try something, and if it doesn't work, then you move and do something, and then you don't call it a setback. I don't know. Right, yeah. I never felt stagnated because I always I had too many ideas than what I can do in my job, right? Whether I was a clerk at Musaji's or whether marketing manager at Eagle, I always had so many things to do, right? So I never had a stagnation period, right? I mean, because every day I'm thinking of what to do new, right? And then so it's always fun. Number one is, as I said before, develop people holistically, believe in people, and be genuinely interested in them. Right? They respond. Right? You care for them, and they won't let you down. And give people challenges that they can't handle. Right? Right? Stretch them to the maximum. They will surprise you, and give them a vision. Right? That's the best way to inspire people, Tell them where you want to go and take care of them and be there for you. For example, I volunteered to handle the largest IT project at Eagle, right? Because there was nobody else. I said, okay, I'll do that. And the only IT I knew was what I had learned at my MBA. And first thing I did was I asked the head of IT, who was a very programming kind of mind. I told him, what I need is a more people-oriented person, people pride, not the IT side. And I got him to be out of the IT department. And I took over the whole thing, right? And in this exercise, just to illustrate, how you take care of people, you can't do it bluffing. I had to tell everybody that they are going to work long hours, 24/7 most days. Right? I promised them. That's all I can promise you. And I went to the IT company, the vendor. I said, I want to talk to the team. And I told them, for you, this is a project. For me, it's not a project. Right? We have 500,000 customers trusting us for their lives. It's about their lives. There are 2,000 agents selling insurance. It's their life, their livelihood. And we have 500 of us living on. Right? So for us, it's about our life. So we want this to be the best possible. And the result, I'll give two examples. When shareholder change happened during halfway through the project, right, and they said they may want to reconsider the solution. So the head of the project from the IT company came and I said we might want to scrap the project. Now we are about 1 month behind ahead of schedule, the go live. He said, Deepal, I would rather commit suicide. That's the level of inspiration I had got into them. Then I had set very high standards to our internal staff. I told, when you finish this project, I don't want vendor to teach how to use the system. I want our people developed as leaders at every level, so that problems don't go to IT department immediately. There will be somebody in the department who knows the system in and out. So I said, you go to Malaysia and study for 1 month the systems and everything, and then you come back, and you have to come back after completing the thing, and then failing that exam is not an option. So, and I 1 week into the program, they called me and said, Deepal, these guys are not ready. We are wasting time. We want to come back. I thought maybe I have raised the bar too much. I said, hang on. I jumped a plane and went there. They all packed their bags and saying, Deepal, we want to come back. And so I spoke to them one-on-one, and one chap said, Deepal, commitment is not what you are willing to do, but you are willing to let go, sacrifice. And they were willing to sacrifice 1 month out-of-pocket expenses in dollars, an opportunity to stay in a foreign country for 1 month, and some of them have go overseas for the first time. That's what inspiration is. And taking care, when they had to go, there was one child, one guy, his wife had just given birth to the first baby, 3 months old, right? And some had for the first time. So I personally wrote to their spouses and said they are going on this very important exercise of the company, and they will be away from home for 3 months. If there's anything, please contact me home. This is my phone number, and this is my wife's phone number, right? Anytime you can call us. And I meant it. So once you give that feeling, they will do anything for you. But it has to come from here. So that's how you do it. No, there are many who are like me, right? But each one's manifestation may be unique, because everyone is unique, right? There are many who are like that, you know. So I can't be unique in that sense, but there are many. But the manifestation of mine, it has my signature, but it can't be unique. I think I was significantly influenced by my father, right? If you can lay your hands, I wrote my father's biography in a book called Udugambala, right? And if you read that, you will see a lot of incidents of my father that influenced my life. Like wanting to do bigger things than you can imagine, right? And my father gave me managing the home painting project when I was 13 years old, and I made a mess out of it, but he didn't say anything, right? But I think that gave me responsibility, right, in life very early. And my mother is a fantastic teacher, and so I think she influenced me to care for people, you know. She cares, and my father's ability to do that, and I think he's the one who influenced me a lot to think philosophically, do things. And I, like for example, when I was 9 years old, right, I live by the school, and then in the evening we go to play. And then I was told, you know, don't play with these ordinary children, you know, narakalamaya ashray karanne epa. Then I said, okay, who should the narakalamaya ashray karanne? No, I shouldn't associate with the bad children, so bad children should, it's very unfair, right? So I said, why don't I create a society for them? At age 9, I started Lama Samaj, right? And then I put all my books into a library and started lending books to the village children, and we organized Ramadanas, right? And then my secretary was not doing very well, I sacked him. This was age 9, 10, you know. Yeah, because it was influenced by my father, right? But he was watching things and things. Like if I start talking, it will take a long time. You take my book and read, because it's so much that I learned from my father. But it is not teaching. Like for example, my father was a person who has helped so many to get jobs. When I failed A-levels, just managed to scrape through the second time, and I said, please help me find a job. Yeah, I will help. But he never did anything. So when I found a job on my own, he wrote in his diary, you know, Lokuputa on his own found a job and I think he'll find his way in his life. He was correct. If he helped me, I wouldn't have had this confidence to go. Biggest influence, my father and the teachers at various times. And I have a whole heap of people whom I learn from. Not that one person, right? Various things from various people, you know. And there's a long list of teachers and people that I have met, people I have interacted, you know, people I have met in the Kades, Mudalalis, you know. And all these things contribute. You don't know which one has contributed. Right? Some people say, you know, he's my role model, I try to follow him. I don't know. I don't have one. Right? But it's a synthesis of things, no? Which food made you strong, you know? Can't say that. All food made you strong. Accepting challenges, not knowing what the results are. That was a question I was asked when I was being interviewed, and I said, my today is a result of my yesterday. And I think I'm leaving the legacy I want to leave behind. That is, I want to enrich I want to make a difference, and then touch people's lives, and then live the message that I give, you know. Oh, this is a fantastic experience, good that you asked me. So when I had left Eagle and I was trying to start my own consultancy and things like that, I got tricked, virtually tricked to join this. I didn't know what I was getting in. This place was run down, and this was not functional for how long? 1 year, ne? Well, exactly 1 year. There has been a lot of scandals or something like that, and the place was not functioning. Right? These guys were coming to work and then staying in office and going home. They came to office because they feared they would lose the job. Right? It's torture, right? It's torture. And we were in a dingy little office in Navamavata, and most of the staff were ladies. There was an acting director, she's a lady. Secretary was a lady. Minister was a lady. And there was only one toilet for gents and male and female, and there wasn't a separate bin for ladies. So first thing I said was, tomorrow there must be a separate bin for the ladies, right? And the place where they were eating, right, it was full of, the pantry was, wall was very dirty. So I spoke to a friend of mine, got a can of paint and said, please paint. After reading the act, and I knew what you could do. So I came here and I said, I want to have a national exhibition of inventions, and I want to make it an international exhibition one day. People clapped. People clapped, right? Suddenly, get a vision. And then I said, I want to have 1,000 inventions. Is it possible? Yes, possible. I couldn't believe. We had 900 plus in the first year, right? And again, creating a concept. I said, Sahasak Nimeum, right? 1,000 inventions. Now we have created something which will continue. And then we created an award called Dasis, in the name of Ravana, right? Inspiration. And I started learning about innovations, and I have been now writing, talking about inventions, right? And I am the first commissioner to be appointed who doesn't have a patent. Right? You got to be a patent holder to be the commissioner, right? And we have, now people are calling and saying, can we sign up with you, right? So we have created some things. I mean, long way to go. This institution was started in 1979, right? In Japan, a similar organization was set up in 1904. So you can see the lag. Right? And we are trying to create an ecosystem where inventors are recognized and their ideas are invested upon, right? Angel investments, those things have to happen. So we created a website, completely different to any government website, and we run this place more like a private sector culture, and you inspire people. You can't give promotions, you can't give salary increments, you can't do anything, right? But you get inspired by a vision and creating the kind of thing. Now this is open office, right? You go find any government office where the chairman sits in open office. They want a big room. I said, I don't have any communicable disease, so don't put me in a cage. Intensive care unit, I can understand. So it's all open. So people get up and talk with each other, right? You create that. And with all the limitations, right? You don't have money. So then we go and depend on private sector to support. It's very interesting. I come here only once a week, right? And that's how I promise. I said I cannot put more than one week a day, and I just drop in and they do things. And right, we created the first ever reality show for inventors, which goes on Sundays at 10 o'clock now. Second year running. Lot of firsts after coming here. High fun. Well, I think for me this was a culture shock, right? Because these guys are very good, right? Inspired. But I have been involved with public sector in several ways. And I always believed public sector had very good people. I think private sector people are pampered, right? I think they are paid far too much. Right? Look at what they are getting paid, right? And what they are doing. This guy is our driver. He drives, he does movies, he does films, he does printing, everything. But he gets paid only for the driver's job, right? Many of these people are like that. So government has that kind of people, right? And so I always had a lot of respect for government people, but I didn't expect this kind of positive response, right? They never said can't do, right? During the exhibition time, they work 24/7, and to send them by taxi home is a big thing in the government, right? It's amazing, right? And I have spoken a lot about how they have done. But if you go deeper in the government, the whole thing works on fear. You are frightened to your boss, right? And you want to protect your back. So there's nothing called empowerment in the government system. And in the government system, there's no place for trust, right? Nobody trusts, because system doesn't allow you to trust. And you can do everything on the paper to look very good, and you can still rob, right? It's amazing. Systems are there. You will find, right? Now they're talking about corruption and all. Ultimately, I'll tell you now, on paper they will never be able to prove, because they would have gone through the whole paper right? Because when you develop so much system without this thing foolproof, you can beat the system. They are very scared of the audit queries. I just don't understand, right? I said, be very happy at least one organization is interested in what we are doing, right? And they ask very petty questions, right? People get so demotivated. Like for example, we have these regional exhibitions, you go to schools and select the things, right? I mean, in the whole education system, do innovations, right? You bring them to a place, you can't send them home hungry, so we give food, right? And you estimate so many people to come, they don't turn up, right? So those are the things they query. You said 100 people came, but only 50 have come, and you have ordered 100 lunch packets. That's the kind of queries. People get really demoralized, right? And the government system is, and there are so many organizations doing the same thing. Enormous waste of money. So that we'll talk later. Well, I learned a completely different lesson in life. When I was at Woodplex, I had a boss who was a very well-known person in the society. And in the evenings, he used to accompany me to the club, right? And everybody knows him, right? Hi, Sam, everybody talks to him. So he introduces me to his friends and says, this Deepal, he's from my village, but useless fellow, he doesn't drink, but he's a good guy. And one day, the vehicle he drove was involved in an accident. He killed a person and maimed another. And that night, he was taken to cop station, and in his, I think, bloodstream there was more alcohol than blood. For manslaughter, right? He had, like, Mr. Erdipera, late Mr. Erdipera, appeared for him in the traffic court. You can imagine. 3 months, he was traumatized. He lost his job, and nobody came to see him. Only his son, myself, Mr. Upali Mahanama, one other person, and another colleague of ours. That gave me a very powerful lesson. People associate with you for what you are, right? They don't care who you are. Those are the corporate world relationships, right? And if you get carried away by them, you are mistaken, right? When I left full-time CEO job at Eager, 2010, 31st December, number of SMSs I got was 20% compared to the previous 30%. Because you are not CEO, you are not important, right? Then there was a rumor when I joined the Sampath board, right, that they are going to open an insurance company. Again. So, right. What I did was, whether consciously or not, I don't know, what I did was, I became a person that people know, right? So that opened doors to me. And if you're authentic and things, I think you can do that. But knowing people is very important, because you should be able to pick up the phone and do things. But I'm very, very introvert person. I don't like this, cocktail parties. I'm a very, very private person. So I don't like, and I cannot, just go and waste time on those things. So I don't do. Not as a theory and philosophy as such, but I think when I look back, right, I think there's believing in immense potential of people. I think is, if you ask me what is my philosophy of leadership, believing the immense potential of people, and you help them flourish and they will deliver. You are not important. The vision is important and inspiring them. Some of the global, having worked in multinationals, had the opportunity of working with some very, very good result-driven leaders. They are very quick in giving you feedback and saying whether you are on or off. Right? They don't waste time. Sri Lankan leaders take a long time to tell. Generally, we don't want to hurt, and things like that. And I think that is the first thing that I have experienced, right? Where we would, think they will be very quick. And a lot of Sri Lankan leaders I have met, seen, and observed. They are. I think they are very. They enjoy the power of leadership quite a lot. Right? They want to feel they are very important and things like that. Some of the international leaders with I had personal interactions. They are very simple. But our people want that distance. That's my chair. That's my place, and that kind of thing. And I think our leaders are. I'm not saying you cannot put these things as principle, but I can see they get more attracted to the symbols of leadership than the results. Right? That's because we tend to put people on pedestals, right? Not necessary. No? You saw what happened, Atigaru and all that. Yeah. Okay.
I guess it comes with our culture as well.
I think it comes with our culture.
Yeah.
But I think we need to go and explore this whole thing. Although we say our culture, look at the kind of things we have done, right? We are yet to learn that kind of things, right? Technology-wise, right? Look at our irrigation systems, Just look at the project management of building one of those stupas, right? If you have built a house, you know how difficult to build a house. Just imagine the house and a stupa, right? Project management, don't think of technology, right? So if you think, I think we are missing something, right? And we are just attributing it to our culture and things like that. I think we haven't discovered what are the true things that really inspired people. Just look at one example. When King Dutugamunu, when he was building the Ruangalisaya, he is supposed to have said, right, nobody should be paid, should work free for this. Right? Anybody who does work has to be paid. Now you see the power of using vision. Right? It's not about distance or anything. So then people wanted to do free, and then he had to put soldiers to check, and you work, get paid. Right? We never studied that model. When Parakram Bahu said, about water, right? A whole nation built Wavers. You can't call Waver a tank, right? But we haven't studied. So we think our culture is respecting adults. There's nothing wrong in respecting adults, right? But we need to figure out, okay, respecting adult versus challenging an idea. I think we have missed something, and we just say it's our culture and then carry on. We may not, for example, I tell you, we were at Eagle and Mr. Jayaratna was our MD, and he came and said, please, at CTC they started calling everybody by first name. So he said, call me Chandra, right? Me and Manjula De Silva, who is MD of Asian Alliance, we went and said, look here, we can't call you Chandra. If you want, we'll call you Chandra Uncle. Right? Because, if you are a neighbor or something, we'd have called you Chandra Uncle. We can't call you Chandra. But that doesn't mean that when it in meetings, right, whether it is his idea or somebody's idea, nobody survives in that company. Right? So I think we need to explore this. I don't think we're getting explored and experimented enough. If I have got any success, I will put everything for that I have benefited from the Buddhist philosophy. Because you go and you understand yourself. More you understand yourself, you understand others. Right? And then you can be effective. And I think we are using very little of that in it. And I've been trying to use that in my teachings, in my practices, in the ways I do. Right? For example, I have, in my motivation and things, and I think we are not using. I think Buddhism doesn't need branding, right? You need brand to build market share. If you are not interested in market share, remove the brand. Make it open source, everybody will use. Right? That's what I do with Buddhism. I don't want to rub on people, Buddhism. I'm not interested in market share. Right? You remove all the labels, right? Like for example, when I talk of rapid, right, 5 reasons why people fail, right, that is Pancha Nivarana, 5 hindrances. If I say Pancha Nivarana, nobody wants to touch. Remove the label, right? Give it in generic form, then everybody will use. Right? This whole religion thing is because of market share issue. Right? I want more, isn't it? You want to have more. Why? You remove that, then it is available. Isms are coming after the philosophers. They never wanted market share issue. They didn't have, they just said what they saw. After that, we want to build an institution around it. Okay, right, how can I have more? Very difficult to distinguish. Very difficult to distinguish, isn't it? Because you are you, right? And I don't think, right? You might have different expressions of the same thing in work life, but you have only one life. But you play different roles. It's very difficult to see, right? If you're organized here, you're organized at home, right? If you're polite throughout your life, Sometimes you will have variations, but I think it's, and that's another major principle that I expound, that don't look at life in compartments. Life is life. If you die, the whole file crashes.
I guess there's another school of thought where people say that you should bring your office problems when you go home. That sort of
well, you can tell that when you are very junior. Right? When I was a clerk at Musaji's, right? End of the day, you close the books, balance the numbers, and give cash, count the cash, and you go home. Next morning, you come and see whether there are customers. So as you go high up, you can't do that, right? But the important thing is, when you are with family, you have to be 100% with the family, right? Right? But you can't completely forget your house. Like for example, when LTT came and tried to bomb Colombo, right? So I heard the news that they crashed on a next door neighbor, that is Inland Revenue, right? So I called a few of my general managers, middle of the night, we got into our car and came here. So my wife, right? Where are you going? I said, office is where I go, right? So how do you say that? So that is why it's important the whole family understands what you are doing. Right? If you say don't go, danger, probably danger, yeah, but you need to go, right? You go. So when you are senior, right, you can't switch off, right? But it's important when you are there with your loved ones, give them that time to them, right? Right? I don't take a single piece of paper into my bedroom. My bedroom has nothing, right? No books, no magazines, no TVs, no computers. I don't take anything, right? Okay, right? But you have your phone on if somebody wants to contact me. But, like for example, on POE days, I don't answer phone. Whatever. Yeah? Even if I am not there, world will continue. No? So let him continue. When you are doing MBA, right, the whole family needs to know that you are doing MBA. And your office colleagues need to know that you are doing this MBA, right? Because when you are doing an MBA, before I started my MBA, I asked Professor Udit Aliyanage, he had just finished his MBA. I asked, I know him intimately, what did you learn from doing an MBA? He said, I discovered there's so much capacity in me, right? So what you will learn from MBA is not all the things that you learn in class, right? You will find there's so much capacity underutilized, right? So it's not about balancing, it's expanding and doing everything and prioritizing. A lot of things you will not be able to do, right? That's why I said it's very important, your family, if you're married, let them understand what is an MBA, right? I had just married and I was doing research methodology, right? And Dr. Tilak Fonseca, right? Very, very strict, right? And I have already missed 2 classes. If I miss one more, then I will lose the whole, And I had to take my wife to a doctor. Now that is the day. You are just married, right? You can't be giving excuses. And I said, okay, you go to the doctor with my colleague, right? And I'll somehow come before you see the doctor. So I waited till the tea break, right? And I rushed. Who did great? Not me, my wife. Isn't it? Right? Just married 1 year, and you're going to see a doctor with a office colleague of your husband's. Come on. And that's what I said. Everybody needs to support, right? When I was doing the MBA, my colleagues knew 5 o'clock, this fellow will drop everything and we'll go. Right? Those days you get late 30 seconds, you get locked out. And we had to go to Pamankada. So there's nothing called balance, right? There's no balance, right? So figure out what is priority and go on. No escape. But you will turn back and say, we did so much during MBA. It's the process. Right? It's not it's a process you go through, you know. It's kind of a maturing process, if you take it that way. That's why I always encourage people to do an MBA after a few years of qualifications and with some experience. Then you know what strategy is. You know, you are a junior fellow, you don't know what strategy is, you know, but you write big things, you don't know what. And when you go high in the organization, you know it's very difficult to do things in companies, right? Right? When you are junior managers, we always criticize the senior management. When you are running the company, you know it's not possible to change. And now I'm on boards, I know it's even more difficult. To be a good leader, you have to be a good follower first. You can be a good leader in spite of the MBA. Right? I think MBAs are valid for 3 years. After that, you know, you can't sit on the laurels that I'm an MBA. After 3 years, things have changed. It's not what you learn. It's a development that you go through. Your ability to learn from your own life, you know, ability to look at it from a distance. Those are the things you learn from MBA process, you know. That's very important, right? You know, without getting emotionally involved in the things, can we look at what I am doing? Is it right or wrong? You know, that's what is important. You know, otherwise we are very defensive when somebody gives us feedback, right? That's why they are ruthless when they give feedback to you. To develop that ability to accept things, you know, and perfecting things, right? Look for precision, you know, a lot of things. If you really look at, you know, just look from outside the MBA. It's not the subjects. Subjects, you don't have to waste time there. No, you just go to the internet, and you don't have to know all these subjects, no, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you don't manage a manufacturing company, some of those things on the production things you don't have to manage, right? You know, but that's not the process. It's a process. What brought you there will not take you from there, right? Because and it's a lonely place, right? Because the buck ends at you, and when you take decisions, you are accountable. And but still make the decision, and then if it is not right, change the decision. Right? There's nothing to say it was my decision, right? I have many examples in my life, you know, where I did and it's wrong, you scrap it. Then they say, Deepal, you are the one who wanted it. I said, I am the one.